My husband didn't see me crying at his promotion party until his boss asked if I was all right. Then he turned around. The champagne tower sparkled under crystal chandeliers, and I stood next to it, counting my breaths because my therapist said that's what you do. When panic attacks start building like storm systems you can feel approaching but can't stop. 43 minutes I'd been standing in this exact spot at the Ritz-Carlton ballroom while Michael worked the room like he was campaigning for office, and not once had he glanced in my direction. My feet screamed in the heels his assistant picked out because my usual flats weren't appropriate for his big night. The dress was his choice too. Navy sheath his mother approved via FaceTime, sophisticated enough to compliment him without drawing attention. That phrase kept echoing in my head, without drawing attention, like I was a piece of furniture meant to blend seamlessly into his carefully curated life. Someone approached asking about Michael's partnership plans and whether we'd be moving to that bigger house in Riverside, and I realized with a jolt that everyone at this party knew about a house my husband was planning to buy except me. When had he looked at houses? Had I been there? The memories felt slippery, like trying to hold water in cupped hands, and I couldn't tell anymore what I'd actually experienced versus what Michael had told me happened. The tears started without warning, hot and mortifying, sliding down my cheeks while across the room Michael threw his head back laughing at something Richard Whitmore said. That laugh carried over the ambient party noise and hit me like a physical blow because I couldn't remember the last time he'd laughed like that with me, fully present and genuinely delighted instead of distracted by his phone or already thinking 3 steps ahead to his next professional move. I turned toward the champagne tower and pretended to study the glasses, using my hair as a curtain to hide my face, trying desperately to pull myself together because this was Michael's night and I was not going to be the wife who made a scene. Except I was already making a scene, wasn't I? Standing here crying at my husband's promotion party while he remained completely oblivious 20 feet away. A waiter passed with concerned eyes, and I shook my head slightly to indicate I was fine, and we both knew I was lying. The panic in my chest built higher, that feeling like the air was too thick to breathe properly, and I gripped the edge of the table hard enough that my knuckles went white. Dr. Reeves had warned me about this, about how anxiety manifests when you've been ignoring your own needs for so long that your body starts screaming what your mind won't acknowledge. Count to 4 breathing in, 6 breathing out. But it wasn't working because the room felt like it was tilting and I couldn't find anywhere safe to look. Then a woman appeared next to me, young, maybe late 20s, wearing a server's uniform with dark hair pulled back in a neat bun. "Are you okay?" she asked quietly, and something about the genuine concern in her voice made my throat tighten even more. I nodded automatically because that's what you do when strangers ask uncomfortable questions, but she didn't move away. Instead, she handed me a clean handkerchief from her pocket, and her brown eyes held something that looked almost like recognition, like she'd stood exactly where I was standing and understood in a way that didn't require explanation. "I've been watching you stand here alone for half an hour," she said, glancing briefly at Michael across the room. "And I don't think anyone else has noticed you're here at all, which seems really wrong at a party that's supposedly celebrating both of you." The words hit like she'd reached into my chest and squeezed my heart, articulating something I'd been feeling but couldn't name, and suddenly I was crying harder despite my desperate attempts to stop. "It's his night," I managed to say through the tears. "I'm just here to support him." The woman's expression shifted to something between sympathy and anger. "Supporting someone doesn't mean disappearing completely," she said, and those words lodged in my brain like a splinter I couldn't remove, painful and impossible to ignore.